We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and their care of it for thousands of years. Open to the spirit who has ever been present here, we resolve to appreciate its beauty, to be wise stewards of its resources, and to honour the connection the traditional custodians, the Kumba Mary from the Agamba Nation, have with this land. Could you please bow your heads for the school prayer? Almighty God, Good afternoon, girls, teachers, special guests, and welcome to the final assembly for Term 3 of 2015. To start off assembly today, the Non Nobis Solum Committee will be presenting the cheque to the Same Sky Global Ambassadors from Bond University, and we'll be hearing from them about the difference that your support over the first semester has made. However, we'd first like to show you the Same Sky mission video for those who haven't already seen it, as a way of giving you a pretty good insight, once again, to the women and families that you are helping.
Starting is hard. That's very good.
Urudodo rwacu rurimo ruravanga ubururu busa n'ubururu.
For my medical checkup, the doctor asks me what happened to me, why has my health improved. My blood cells have improved from 250 to 1,200 all in the past year, and I know that's because I have been happy, I've been working hard, I've been using my money towards my health. Same Sky has restored my dignity as a woman. It has restored my dignity in my community. I hope that all of us women, Same Sky women in Rwanda, continue to be an inspiration.
Sky, the non-Nova Solon Committee supported semester one. As you probably know, Same Sky is an amazing organisation that aims to empower the women who were affected by the Rwandan genocide in 1994. By giving these women jobs, by making the beautiful jewellery, Same Sky is not only helping the women right now, but ensuring they have an economically stable future. Same Sky aims to give women a voice, just as we do here at St Hilda. And on behalf of the Non-Nova Solon Committee, we would like to say thank you to everyone who supported the charity through the Easter egg raffle, chocolate sales, and the jewellery that was sold at the Mother-Daughter Luncheon in March.
I'd now like to call forward the Same Sky Global Ambassadors to further educate you about this great foundation and how you can continue to be involved in the future if you choose to do so, as well as explaining the difference that we have made together.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gemma Alka, formerly Gemma Sandberg. I am a St Hilda's old girl and am delighted to be back here today to be a part of this very special presentation. Same Sky is, as you've heard, a global mission to empower women globally. Bond is the first global ambassador, and we join the likes of Miranda Kerr, Goldie Hawn, Julie Bishop and Serena Russo in actually having this conversation of women helping women. It's about connecting us globally, and it's through soulful shopping that we've been able to have this conversation. So the pieces of jewellery is what Same Sky is. The women in Rwanda make the pieces, and then through our networks globally, we're able to sell those pieces, and all the profits go back to those women to enable them to have an economic participation, to have an education, to have an identity. And with that, that's what's very special, that each and every one of you, including the chocoholics, I'm told there are a number of you, have actually joined that conversation, have actually participated in helping those women in Rwanda, and one day our hope is that we can actually bring Same Sky to Australia so we can help our Australian women as well. That's it. There is a website. If anybody wants any more information, by all means, we're more than happy to answer those questions, and thank you very much for all the efforts that you have done throughout the year.
On behalf of St Hilda's School, we'd now like to present Bond University, as you heard, the Global Ambassadors for Same Sky, with a cheque for 2,000 American dollars.
Could you all please again join me in thanking these lovely ladies for coming here today from Bond to accept our funds.
Girls, it can arguably be concluded that you have made it to the end of the hardest and longest term of the year, and we've done it in style. I don't have much to say to you today other than congratulations on a brilliant term all round. We have all achieved so much, so enjoy the holidays and stay safe and ready to come back to term 4 and give it our all as we have been all year.
Georgia, congratulations. I agree with you entirely. It has been a magnificent term and there's been so much to be proud of. It's also wonderful to have the Same Sky guests here and the opportunity of delivering such a wonderful cheque of $2,000 to that fantastic charity. Throughout this term we have had some quite remarkable successes and achievement throughout the whole school. All the way down to the very junior part of the junior school, there's been some wonderful successes. I think the grade 3s will live for a long time on the joy of coming top on the Gold Coast in their NAPLAN tests. Winning the athletics in the Andrews Cup was a great thrill for them. And throughout this part of the school, we have just so much to be proud of. The sport has really gone so well this term. Really, it's been probably our most successful term of sport that we've had in our school's history. But I don't want to take too much of Kate's thunder in that area. What I do want to say to you today, though, is throughout the term we've had a remarkable number of presentations through the Amnesty Group and through the chapel prefects that have dealt with the the difficulties that exist around the world and the issues that I hope we're all interested in engaging with and confronting. Some of those issues have been quite confronting, and I think the start of the Same Sky video that we just saw, you would have to rate as listing some pretty tough statistics, some pretty ugly statistics. And what I like in particular about that Same Sky video is the optimism that it contains, because it confronts us all with the terrible things that are real in the world, but it also gives a message to every one of us that if you choose to do something about those issues, you can make a difference. And in many ways, what I want to finish with today, at the end of this fantastically successful term, is just that message of optimism. It is easy to think that the world is in a parlous, terrible, difficult situation. It's easy to think it's never been worse. But in actual fact, that is not statistically the truth. There have been a lot of people over the last century and before who have worked extremely hard to make this a better world. And amazingly, it is a better world. There are some great stories. And I want to show you just a few minutes of that are really about statistics, and I don't want you to think, oh my good grief, what's going to happen here? This is a fairly interesting fellow who presents, I think, in a very interesting way. I think you'll pick up his accent pretty quickly, but he really presents a wonderfully optimistic story about the world and all the good that has happened. The message I want you to get is, if you commit to improving this world, it is amazing what can happen. You are the next generation of greatness in this world. In not very long period of time, you will be the leaders and the bosses in the real world. You will be making decisions. Making a difference can happen. Take a look at how this world, our world, has improved over the last 50-odd years. It's quite surprising.
About 10 years ago, I took on the task to teach global development to Swedish undergraduate students. That was after having spent about 20 years together with African institutions studying hunger in Africa. So I was sort of expected to know a little about the world. And I started in our medical university, Karolinska Institute, an undergraduate course called Global Health. But when you get that opportunity, you get a little nervous. I thought these students coming to us actually have the highest grade you can get in Swedish college system. So I thought maybe they know everything I'm going to teach them about. So I did a pre-test when they came. And one of the questions from which I learned a lot was this one: which country has the highest child mortality of these 5 pairs? And I put them together so that in each pair of country, one has twice the child mortality of the other. And this means that it's much bigger the difference than the uncertainty of the data. I won't put you at a test here, but it's Turkey, which is highest there, Poland, Russia, Pakistan, and South Africa. And these were the results of the Swedish students. I did it, so I got a confidence interval, which was pretty narrow, and I got happy, of course. I had 1.8 right answer out of 5 possible. That means that there was a place for a professor of international health and for my course. But one late night, when I was compiling the report, I really realized my discovery. I have shown that Swedish top students know statistically significantly less about the world than the chimpanzees. Because the chimpanzee would score half right. If I gave them 2 bananas with Sri Lanka and Turkey, they would be right half of the cases. But the students are not there. The problem for me was not ignorance, it was preconceived ideas. I did also an unethical study of the professors of the Karolinska Institute that hands out the Nobel Prize in medicine, and they are on par with the chimpanzee there. So this is where I realized that there was really a need to communicate, because the data of what's happening in the world and the child health of every country is very well aware. So we did this software which displays it like this. Every bubble here is a country. This country over here is this is China. This is India. The size of the bubble is the population. And on this axis here, I put fertility rate. Because my students, what they said when they looked upon the world, and I asked them, what do you really think about the world? Well, I first discovered that the textbook was Tintin mainly. And they said the world is still we and them. And we is Western world, and them is third world. And what do you mean with Western world? I said, well, that's long life in small family, and third world is short life in large family. So this is what I could display here. I put fertility rate here, number of children per woman, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to about 8 children per woman. We have very good data since 1962, 1960 about, on the size of families in all countries. The error margin is narrow. Here I put life expectancy at birth, from 30 years in some countries up to about 70 years. And 1962, there was really a group of countries here that was industrialized countries, and they had small families and long lives. And these were the developing countries. They had large families and they had relatively short lives. Now, what has happened since 1962? We want to see the change. Are the students right? It's still 2 types of countries? Or have these developing countries got smaller families and they live here? Or have they got longer lives and live up there? Let's see. We start the world. And this is all UN statistic that has been available. Here we go. Can you see there? It's China. They're moving against better health. They're improving there. All the green Latin American countries, they are moving towards smaller families. The yellow ones here are the Arabic countries, and they get larger families, but longer lives, but not larger families. The Africans are the green down here, they still remain here. This is India. Indonesia is moving on pretty fast. And in the 80s here, you have Bangladesh still among the African countries there. But now Bangladesh, it's a miracle that happens in the 80s. The imams start to promote family planning, and they move up into that corner. And in 90s, we have the terrible HIV epidemic that takes down the life expectancy of the African countries, and all the rest of the world moves up into the corner where we have long lives and small family, and we have a completely new world. Let me make a comparison directly between United States of America and Vietnam. 1964. America had small families and long life. Vietnam had large families and short lives. And this is what happens. The data during the war indicate that even with all the death, there was an improvement of life expectancy. By the end of the year, the family planning started in Vietnam, and they went for smaller families. And the United States up there is getting for longer life, keeping family size. And in the 80s now, they give up communist planning and they go for market economy, and it moves faster even than social life. And today we have in Vietnam the same life expectancy and the same family size here in Vietnam 2003 as in United States 1974 by the end of the war. I think we all, if we don't look in the data, we underestimate the tremendous change in Asia, which was in social change before we saw the economical change. So let's move over to another way here in which we could display the distribution in the world of the income. This is the world distribution of income of people. $1, $10, or $100 per day. There's no gap between rich and poor any longer. This is a myth. There's a little hump here. But there are people all the way. And if we look where the income ends up, the income, this is 100% of world's annual income. And the richest 20%, they take out of that about 74%. And the poorest 20%, they take about 2%. And this shows that the concept developing countries is extremely doubtful. We sort of think about aid, like these people here giving aid to these people here. But in the middle, we have most of the world population. And they have now 24% of the income. We heard it in other forms. And who are these? Where are the different countries? I can show you Africa. This is Africa. 10% of world population, most in poverty. This is OECD, the rich country, the country club of the UN. And they are over here on this side, and quite an overlap between Africa and OECD. And this is Latin America. It has everything on this earth, from the poorest to the richest in Latin America. And on top of that, we can put East Europe, we can put East Asia, and we put South Asia. And how did it look like if we go back in time to about 1970? Then there was more of a hump. Huh? And we have most who lived in absolute poverty were Asians. The problem in the world was the poverty in Asia. And if I now let the world move forward, you will see that while population increase, there are hundreds of millions in Asia getting out of poverty and some others get into poverty. And this is the pattern we have today. And the best projection from the World Bank is that this will happen. And we will not have a divided world. We will have most people in the middle. Of course, it's a logarithmic scale here. But our concept of economy is growth with percent. We look upon it as a possibility of percentage increase. If I change this and I take GDP per capita instead of family income, and I turn these individual data into regional data of gross domestic product, and I take the regions down here, the size of the bubble is still the population, and you have the OECD there, and you have sub-Saharan Africa there, and we take off the Arab states there, coming both from Africa and from Asia, and we put them separately, and we can expand this axis, and I can give it a new dimension here by adding the social values there, child survival. Now I have money on that axis, and I have the possibility of children to survive there. In some countries, 99.7% of children survive to 5 years of age, others only 70. And here it seems that there is a gap between OECD, Latin America, East Europe, East Asia, Arab states, South Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. The linearity is very strong between child survival and money. But let me split Sub-Saharan Africa. Health is there, and better health is up there. I can go here, and I can split Sub-Saharan Africa into its countries. And when it bursts, the size of each country bubble is the size of the population. Sierra Leone down there, Mauritius up there. Mauritius was the first country to get away with trade barriers, and they could sell their sugar, they could sell their textiles on equal terms as the people in Europe and North America. There's a huge difference between Africa, and Ghana is here in the middle. In Sierra Leone, humanitarian aid. Here in Uganda, development aid. Here, time to invest. There you can go for holiday. It's a tremendous variation within Africa, which we very often make that it's equal everything. I can split South Asia here. India is the big bubble in the middle, but huge difference between Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. And I can split Arab states. How are they? Same climate, same culture, same religion, huge difference. Even between neighbors. Yemen, civil war, United Arab Emirates money, which was quite equally and well used. Not as the myth is. And that includes all the children of the foreign workers who are in the country. Data is often better than you think. Many people say that data is bad. There is an uncertainty margin. But we can see the difference here, Cambodia, Singapore. The differences are much bigger than the weakness of the data. East Europe, Soviet economy for a long time, but they come out after 10 years very, very differently. And there is Latin America. Today we don't have to go to Cuba to find a healthy country in Latin America. Chile will have a lower child mortality than Cuba within some few years from.
We'll leave it there. The point is that the world has developed remarkably over that last 50 years because somebody has tried to make a difference. The message clear. Same sky, saying women can make a huge difference. I'm going to finish with one personal story from the family. This afternoon, I hope when I get home, my little granddaughter, who's about 3, will be there. They're flying up from Sydney. She recently told her grandmother, my wife, she said, "Nana, stop. There's a big problem there." She said, "Stand back. That's one for a woman." There's a big problem. Stand back. That's one for a woman. Fantastic. I think there's a great future for everyone. Have an intent to do something to make this a better life. Because can it make a difference? Yep, look at those statistics. If you want to see the whole clip, it's called Hans Rosling. It's easy on TED, on YouTube. Hans Rosling. It's a fascinating clip. There's so many good statistics on there. And you might think statistics are dry and uninteresting, but it does give you a completely different view of the world. But stand back. Big problem. It's one for a go. Have a good holiday.
Good afternoon, girls. What a term this has been for the Cultural Arts Department. To kick off the term, we had the night at acting course over the holidays, which was a wonderful opportunity for girls to develop their acting skills. We then competed in Gold Coast to Stedford, where we had some outstanding results in all sections. Later on today, we'll be showing you a sneak peek from Senza Ragazzi's performance of Wicked in the showcase section. The middle and senior school plays were an amazing success. Special mention must go to Libby Gunther for her very convincing performance as a chicken. We've also had the film competition, which was a new initiative that was a great success. Also, we had a number of Twilight concerts throughout the term, both for music as well as for speech and drama, which allowed girls to showcase their amazing talents. As well as this, Senza Ragazzi has been invited to perform their performance of Wicked at the Gold Coast Stedford Musical for outstanding performance on Sunday, 18th of October.
In light of such a busy term, we would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the outstanding spirit, dedication and enthusiasm that has been showcased by so many girls. The Clara Stella Award was introduced in 2012 by the Cultural Arts Prefects at the time, in order to acknowledge some shining stars within the Cultural Arts Department. We would like to present the following girls with the Clara Stella Award. If we call your name, could you please come down to the stage? First we have Brooke Murakami, Sienna Gardner, Lily Murphy, Anna Sturgio, Nikki Weil, Lily Baker, Brianna Free, Rhiannon Pascal, and Sophie Miserolas. Can we please give these girls another round of applause? Next term will be another exciting one for the Cultural Arts, with music presentation evening and music fest coming up. So keep checking our Instagram account at @STH_cultural arts for more updates.
Over the holidays, we advise you get practicing, because coming up early week 3, there may be an opportunity for you to showcase your talents in a competition similar to one that's on TV at the moment. Stay tuned. We now have performances from 2 of our standout senior musicians. First up is the always energetic Peter Morton, singing her beautiful rendition of Birdie's People Help the People, originally by Cherry Ghost. It describes humanity's tendency to be selfish regarding those who are less fortunate than us. We then have crowd favourite Shay Marnie singing Everything and More from the musical Twisted, which is a parody of Disney's Aladdin, with Shay performing as the beautiful Jasmine. Have a safe, restful holiday, and we'll see you all next term.
God knows what is hiding in those weak and sunken lives. Fiery thrones of muted angels, giving love, but get to nothing but people, and if you're homesick, give me your hand and I'll hold it. And nothing will drag you down. Oh, and if I had a brain, oh, and if I had a brain, I'd be cold as a stone, rich as the fool who turned all those good hearts away. God knows what is hiding in this world of little consequence, behind the tears, inside the lies, a thousand slowly dying sunsets. God knows what is hiding in those weak and drunken lives, fiery thrones of muted angels. singing. People help the people. And if you're homesick, give me your hand and I'll hold it. People help the people, and nothing will drag you down. Oh, and if I had a brain, oh, and if I had a brain, I'd be cold as a stone, rich as the fool, turned all those good hearts away. Am I the only one who wants something more out of life? I want to be free so badly. You servants could never understand. I'm the most powerful girl in the land. With the wave of my hand, I could give a command. But it's just like whatever, 'cause they don't understand. Look at my life from the outside and sure, I've got servants and tigers and stuff. You're probably thinking, she's got everything. Well, it's true, 'cause I do. But so what? It's not enough. I want a life of adventure, with no orders I have to obey, and dangers galore, as long as I can be sure that I'm safe and secure at the end of the day. I want to escape from this palace for a life where I'll truly be free. I'll believe someone new, just as big with a view, and a few dozen servants attending to me. That's all I'm asking for. I just want everything and more. I want the moon. I want to live on the moon and eat it in a pie and keep it as a pet.
students and staff. 3 weeks ago was the 2015 Head of River. I would like to congratulate all the rowers for their hard work and dedication this year. I would also like to thank all the spectators that came to watch our rowers on the day. It was greatly appreciated by us all. We came away on the day with a third in the Year 10 single scull by Lukey Smith, a second in the Year 11 single scull by Lucy Coleman, third and fourth in Year 9 Division 6 quad final, third in Year 9 Division 5 quad final, third in Year 9 Division 4 quad final, third in Year 10 Division 3 final, second in Year 10 Division 1 final, second in Senior 4 Division 1 final, and third in our Senior First 8 Open Division 1 final. The Year 10s came third overall in their age group, and overall St Hilda's came fifth in the aggregate cup and third in the percentage cup. Alex and I put together a video to sum up the season that was shown on the annual Ammonite dinner. I hope you enjoy.
Some saw the sun, some saw the smoke, some heard the gun, some bent the bow, sometimes the wire was tense for the note. We're caught in the fire. Say oh, we're about to explode. Carry a word. I'll carry a word. Carry a word.
congratulations to Elle Rutherford and Olivia Burden, who qualified for the South Coast Regional Athletics team and are now invited to compete at States in October. Another congratulations to Lily Clements on second place at the WTA Future Stars National Final. She is currently up in Rockhampton with Laura Tupper, Yasmin Foster and Archie Trescott, representing St Hilda's at the state team's tennis tournament. Good luck to these girls, they are currently the title holders. Good luck to the rowing girls heading up to Rockhampton for the state rowing championships tomorrow. Well, they weren't wrong when they said time flies when you're having fun. See you later, term 3. My oh my, what an amazing history-making term it was. We had BSRA rowing regattas and winter fixtures happening every Saturday, and I have never seen St Hilda's girls show so much courage, pride and grace as they stepped up to the plate and left the other schools wondering where we came from. Overall results will be sent to you at a later date because we haven't got the overall ones yet, but we have had the Open Netball team win their first game in 8 years, which is an amazing achievement, so a round of applause to them. First 8 to place at a header river, which is also an awesome result. We also had the year 7s were just pipped at the volleyball on the weekend, but the year 8s won the premiership. Yeah, round of applause. I'll get them all and confirm all those in an email sent at a later date. So good luck to all those girls competing as individuals over the holidays. Make sure you wish these girls good luck. It's so important that we recognise them and that we're behind them 100%. Personally, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for giving sport all they've got this term, and have a safe holiday and see you next term for another great term in sport. Thank you very much.
Could you all please stand for the school song and sing with pride for the last time this term?